Whether you're a longtime chess fan, have recently started out playing, or dare I say, do not really know much about chess, or are not interested in it, but decided to click on this video anyway, in that case, welcome. It is always fascinating to see a kid pull off something miraculous. Be it in football, be it in chess, be it in anything. In this video, we will cover one of those miracles. Our protagonist in this game is only 14 years old. Think about that for a second, really. Only 14 years old. And, with this, at this rate, I really think that there would be a time where we witnessed a 2-year-old champion whose parents gave them a chess set instead of a pacifier when they were crying. Anyways, let's go. So, our protagonist in this game is the Turkish protege Mikhail Tal, and his opponent is Mikhail Tal, who's I think 18 years old, and in chess terms he's already a grandpa really. So Erdogan is playing as black, and Mikhail opens with c4, the English opening. It was popular, but yeah, e6, knight c3, d5, and now d4. The game turns into a queen's gambit declined. Well, this pawn is of course hanging, but taking it would let white expand in the center, and Erdogan says, okay, I'm fine with that, let's take. And I'm saying, okay, what do you have, right? After e4, there is no way to defend the pawn, right? And Erdogan definitely knew this. What he was looking to do was to get his opponent to take the center. That's very counterintuitive. Who would really get his opponent to take the space? c5, straying back. The pawn is now hanging. d5 is played to deal with the threat, creating a passed pawn. Takes now bishop e6. So the bishop now is doing what's called blockading the pawn, because it cannot go forward right now. Bishop takes c4, and now knight to e7. The reason it didn't go to f6 is that the queen to check would actually force your king to move away, because you really cannot block it. Because for example, if you go here, I check, right? Queen e7 can be met by knight b5, and knight is over here, right? Or if you want to play your bishop to e7, well, then I have this move bishop b5 check, and you cannot block it anymore, right? Whatever you put on d7, I'll take d6, because the protection of the queen has been stopped of that square, right? Of that square. So you now gotta go, at least now you gotta go king f8, and now this bishop is actually in the worst square. So you gotta go knight e7 to just sidestep all of this stuff. h3, and if you look at the time, right? Erdogan played very, very provocatively and very, very, in an uncommon fashion, because how often do you really see such a position in a in a top level game? You really do not. h3 is played, and if you see, Erdogan is barely thinking, castles. Knight to f3, and yeah, h3 was designed to stop bishop g4 after we play knight f3, castles, knight f3, and now knight to d7, castle, and now knight b6. So this bishop's hanging. It cannot move away though, because the d5 pawn will be lost. And how is that? Well, it's because whenever you want to take, I go bishop h2 check, and I win your queen. So you cannot move the bishop. So you gotta defend it. That's the only way. And now it takes stakes. So black is now gained what's known as the bishop here, right? But white has got their pawn protected. Knight g6 is played, just controlling some squares over here alongside the bishop. And now knight e4, just trying to take the bishop here away, but sometimes plans are a bit slow. What do I mean? Bishop to f5 is played. Knight takes c6 and queen takes c6. The bishop really couldn't have gone there, because there would be some ideas of playing d6 in the future. If you see, white's last two moves were knight e4 and knight takes d6, but black's last moves were bishop f5 and queen takes d6, right? Just going forward and improving the position. Queen b3 is played, attacking the pawn, b6, and now a4. So the idea is to just go a5 and just open the a file and weaken the pawns. So black plays a5 themselves. And here white is better. Not in an insane amount, but they have a good advantage, and the move to basically exploit the problem of black's position, which is this pawn, is the move rook, sorry, not rook to b1, that's hanging, a rook, it's rook to a2. You may not really get the reason. Let's say we play rook here, we play rook b2. You're basically just playing Tetris with the rook. The rook wouldn't have gone to b1, so we just bring it to b2. Now it's putting a lot of pressure. But we really cannot take it yet. White cannot really take it. Let's say we play waiting move. If we try to take, at the end of the line there's bishop d3. So like queen takes b6, rook takes b6. And now bishop to d3, winning the pawn, because it's also attacking the rook. So instead, rook e1 is played. And now rook e8, bishop to e3, and now pawn to e6. So this move is sort of a waiting move. You can never get back rank made it now. There's no way you can get a piece into here. It's just a general improvement move. And now rook a2 is played. So it's just trying to maybe go to e2, maybe go to d2, maybe go to b2. It's very flexible, of course. Here, bishop to e4 is played by black, and perhaps the next move may be the start of the end for white. Knight to d2. This is not a good move for a very simple reason. Knights are the best defenders of the king. And the threat, of course, was to take it and weaken the structure on the king side, but the better way to basically deal with the threat was to play the bishop to d2, keep the knights here, and say, okay, if you want to take, I'm just going to get here. And this move basically would have disallowed the move which was played in the game later on. After knight d2, you do not move the bishop back, you play knight to h4. So, the reason for this is that, okay, we're trying to take the pawn, and if you want to take, I'm quickly onto the e file, right? Quickly onto the e file, and I've got a very good position. So, instead of this, after knight h4, white tried to act smart, or maybe out of desperation. Mikhail spent half of his time and played bishop takes d6. Bishop takes c5. And, well, the reason why this does not lose for for white, is that this bishop is also hanging. But we do not have to take. In fact, if you take, you're just worse with any of these things. The correct move, the only move, is queen to g6. Threatening a checkmate, and in crazy turn of events, Mikhail didn't miss it, played g3. Here, very just beautiful move. It's a disrespectful move, most of all. Bishop to g2. So essentially you're stopping the threat of taking here. You are threatening to take on here. And also, you're also threatening to take on here, of course. Well, the reason why you cannot take the knight is that I'm just going to checkmate you. I'm going to checkmate you. It's very important to play bishop f3, so we block the queen, kind of get back to the fence. Now, wherever you go, play queen g2, queen g2 next turn, and I win. So after bishop g2, Mikhail played a very nice move, the only move in a position to save bishop to e6. So defending the rook by blocking the path, and also saving the bishop by putting it in the path. Now bishop takes h3 is played. I mean, now the pawn is pinned, you cannot take the knight. King h2, and this move knight to g2, very beautiful. Again, cannot really take because I take your rook. Your rook has to keep defending this bishop. Rook e5. And now f6 is played. Attacking the rook, asking it to move again. Queen takes b6. Now, well, of course, there's a pin. And you really may think, okay, why does just one pawn? And it really does not seem that our clumsy pieces can do anything. Well, knight to f4. Knight to f4 is played, and again, you cannot take because of checkmate. And I'm essentially defending the queen, so the pin is gone. I'm threatening to take the rook. Rook moves up, we play queen h5. Essentially give up our knight, and we've got, and the reason for that is that if they take, this bishop will be recaptured. Bishop g4 check, king h1, and now rook takes e7. We are threatening a mate after rook e1 check, if it was our turn. So rook e1 is played, defending the check, again threatening the same thing, and rook f1. So you see the power of the initiative. They got their two rooks in, and they got the rook like this. This is very miserable, of course. Well, now there is actually just one move which wins, and Erdős did not play this. He played bishop h3, and the reason this move does not work is a very interesting idea, which probably could have been found if they had more time. Is a rook h4, forcing the queen to f5, and now playing queen. So essentially, a swap of queens means death for black. You just look at this pawns, right? It's death for them. So you have to move it somewhere else. The rook is hanging, you can just move it somewhere else, for example, here. And the idea is the back rank is just safeguarded now, and I gained some time. But they do not play this. I mean, look at the time, it's very low, it's just a blitz game right now, after all. d6 is played, counter-attack. Well, rook to e2, hit your knights. Rook h4, queen f5, and now queen to b5 is played. So the idea is to say, okay, take, and I am here really in a good position if you want to, for example, like take on here. I'll take with my knight, and these pawns are really strong, very strong. But Erdős found the best move here. Rook 8 to e5, just blocking this way, threatening to take like this, which is, of course, winning for black in that case. d7 is played. A very big mistake here. Mikhail thought it was Mikhail Tal, but unfortunately he forgot that it was Aditya Mittal. Rook takes on d2. So you may say, why is that like a beautiful move? And just take the knight, right, and stop the promotion. Well, you do not. Queen b8 check, king a7, and now the second queen comes on the board. But I'm not sure if Mittal knew this, but there's a checkmate on 6 on the board, and Erdős has spotted that. And I can give you a couple of seconds to start. You can again see the pattern of the magic number here. There are 4 attackers. Well, the first move is queen takes f2. An absolutely crazy move here. Rook takes f2. I mean, otherwise there's going to be checkmate 2 different ways, or technically 3 different ways. Rook takes, rook e1 check. King goes for it, really. King makes a run. Here you may say, okay, I only have 2 attackers remaining now, right? What am I going to do? Well, it turns out your pawns are also attackers. f5 check. King h5, threatening checkmate. 2 different ways, but, well, black's. g6, checkmate, the game's over. Absolutely amazing. Thanks for watching f4. I hope you enjoyed it the way I did. And thanks for your support. I'd really appreciate it if you like and subscribe and share it to a friend of yours who may find this useful. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care.